Hey folks, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. I'm so super excited because I'm here as a guest designer for the greeting farm. Oh my gosh, I was so excited when I got the email from Claudie asking me if I'd want to be a guest designer showing a process video using greeting farm stamps. And of course I said yes immediately because I absolutely adore greeting farm stamps. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know I use them all the time. And this set, the Hatter set, is one of my all-time favorite stamp sets. They're the perfect combination of cutesy and steampunk. I stamped out a handful of them and I colored them up with my Copic markers, and I'm going to pop in here a quick process video just sharing with you guys how I colored one of these little cuties in. For this second little girl, I wanted to give her an Irish look. So I'm starting with a base coat of E000 and E00. And I'm going in with E00 here just to mark in where I think the shadows would be. And E00 is still pretty light, but I wanted to make sure I was thinking about where the shadows would be correctly before I went in with any darker colors. I'm also drawing in where there would be a nose. A lot of greeting farm images come with no noses, but I thought I would draw one in. And this one I'm going to draw in kind of straight on. And now you see I'm going in with slightly darker colors. I'm going in with E21 and E11, and that'll be where the shadows are cast from the top of her hair, her hat, on the sides of her face, along the sides of her nose. So I'm going in with those slightly darker colors. And now I'm going to bring in those colors a little bit further into her face. I was just first marking where the shadows would be, and now I'm really coloring them in. And you might think, oh, it looks really too dark, but you need to put in that layer of color so that when you blend it out with the lighter colors, that those darker shadows remain and you don't come out with an image that looks too flat. Having those gradations of darker shadows really helps make the face come to life. Next, I wanted to make sure that she got nice rosy cheeks, so I'm using a little R20. And I'll blend out the edges with E11 or E21. Either one works. And I'm just making sure that I'm getting a nice clean blend so there's no splotchiness there. Now to give her deep auburn hair, I'm using E97, 99, and 29. I'm starting with a mid-tone of E99 here, and I'm just marking in where the shadows would be in each kind of swath of hair. And the main part of this, for me anyway, is being able to turn my paper around so that I can follow the curves of each part of her hair and not have like straight lines of marker color coming down. Now I'm going in with the darkest shade here, the E29, and I'm following where the deepest shadows would be, kind of behind her head, underneath kind of where her parts are. And I'm not going as far into the middle parts of her hair as I did with that first color, that middle tone of E99. So I'm just marking in the darkest shadows and trying to follow the curve of her head with each stroke. Now I'm going back in again with the mid-tone, deepening in the color, giving her that auburn look, and making sure that the shadows are consistent with where they would fall, kind of behind her head, by her neck, under the brim of her hat. Those areas would be darker and kind of a deeper color. And I'm using the E97 as the lightest color and keeping almost a little bit of the white of the paper, so that there's a real shine that comes through for her hair. The last thing I do is I go back in with my darkest shade again and deepen those darkest shadows, because as you put in the lighter colors, those layers actually bleach out the darker ink. So to reestablish that dark shadow, I go back in with the E29. I find that the trickiest part of coloring is usually the hair and the skin, so I sped this portion up where I'm just having fun coloring up the rest of this little cutie's outfit 8 times normal speed. So if you're interested, you can slow this down, or you can skip over to the next portion, which is where I make the chunky charms. But if you're interested in the particular colors I'm using, please check out my blog post, which I'll link to below. Colored up all these girls using Copic markers, and I fussy cut each one of them out. I chose colors that were kind of in the steampunk family of colors, but with kind of a jewel tone cutesy twist to it. And I colored this little cutie up kind of to represent me. I paid particular attention to her two little feathers in her top hat because I wanted to make them look like little peacock feathers. For the girl next to her, I colored her up as kind of an ashy blonde, and I really wanted her to have a green, blue-green outfit, and I thought she was so cute with her little fruity accessories on her top hat. I colored up the next one much more pale in color, and I kind of was hoping I was channeling Elsa from Frozen. And you saw me coloring up this little girl with what I'm hoping came across as an Irish look. And then lastly, I colored up this little cutie patootie, kind of hoping she turned out looking a little bit like Nicki Minaj. I think they are all so stinking cute. Then what I did was I took this and scanned this back into my computer. Now I blew up the image on my computer, lightened it by about 60%, and then I increased the contrast to further lighten while maintaining the details of the image. And that is because I printed out these images on Shrinky Dink paper. When you print out on Shrinky Dink paper, you have to realize that the image is going to shrink down to about 1/3 of the original size, and it's going to intensify the color. Now here's a little Blondie all fussy cut out, and I'm gonna just take my regular hole punch. This is a 1/4 inch diameter hole punch. Punch a little hole up here. Now you might think that's a really big hole, but again, remember this is going to shrink down to 1/3 the size. Now, of course you can bake this in the oven, but I thought in terms of demonstration purposes, I would show you how you can shrink these Shrinky Dinks with your heat tool. Now remember, the surface here can get really hot, so I'm actually heating all of this up on one of those Ken Oliver Best Craft Mats Ever, and I've doubled it up, and I'm using a little rub-on tool there so that I don't burn my hands. But you can see that it shrinks down relatively quickly, and I just want to make sure that it flattens out fully, so I am using that mat actually to flatten it out. And just because I think it's so cool to watch these shrink up, I thought I'd show you another one. You have this panic moment when it shrivels like that, but then it flattens out and you're like, wow. So I'm gonna put together a chunky charm, and I have put together a key ring and this little lobster clasp, or actually it's a big lobster clasp, so that this can be hung on a planner or used as a keychain. I'm gonna take a big jump ring, attach it to the centerpiece, which is this Greeting Farm hatter. For the most part, the tools that I'm going to be using are needle nose pliers, rounded needle nose pliers, and you'll see I am putting the ring together like so. I don't pull the ring apart like this, I pull it apart like that, and I close it the same way. And so that's the first piece. Then I'm going to attach a chain, and I'm going to be doing that with another jump ring. I have some prepared, and this is just like a jewelry chain. And again, closing that jump ring left to right. So that's the beginning. Now, I thought I would attach this, which I think is so cute. It was part of a costume jewelry bracelet, and there was a pearl missing. It was just in a big junk drawer. So I thought I would use that just as like an added attachment. So I'm gonna take another jump ring, and I love using junk jewelry pieces like that. Now for this main piece, this is another junk jewelry piece. It was part of a dangle earring, if you can imagine. It's a lion's head. And I thought that might look cool, kind of a reference to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'm just kind of looking for balance. I have this old chandelier piece, and I really like that. Because this little girl is mostly colored in blues, I pre-picked out some beads and trims, old necklaces and chandelier pieces that were in blues, clear, and white. Ooh, and that feels so substantial. I really like that. And I'm going to attach this piece to the bottom of that long main chain. And already it's looking really cool. And again, I think I need a little color, so maybe that. And for that, I'm going to need a piece of wire that has an eye on either side. So I'm taking some silver wire, it's jewelry making wire, and I'm going to have an eye on either side of this blue bead so that it can be connected to the pearl strand as well as that lion medallion. And I'm just measuring out here the length of wire that I'll need. I'm really just eyeballing because what I need to do is know that I have enough on either side of the bead to do an eye. The cleanest way to do an eye, do a 90-degree angle, then take your round needle nose pliers and do that. And that's pretty straight. Now I'm gonna go through this and see that creates the eye right there. I'm going to do the same thing again, 90-degree angle. Now this is too long, so I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. What I really need is about ½ an inch, maybe a little bit less. And I'll open up the top piece now. So now I've got big chunky pieces at the bottom and this really cute little girl at the top. And now it's just a matter of filling in this space along this main chain. So you can buy jump rings, but I find that if I need them on the fly and I don't have them in stock, I can just coil some wire around a round chopstick and then snip all along the coil, and you get a whole bunch of really fast jump rings. To add some more sparkle, I'm going to attach this strand of blue rhinestones. Crimp beads with clamshells are the perfect way to connect this. And I just cinched it around the end piece of the strand of gems. So see how it's a little clamshell? And you can just wrap that around and it has a hook built in, and you crimp it. And then you're good to go. All you need to do is decide how long you want the strand. I just want to add a little color, so maybe I'll stop it right about here. And voila! I will attach this right here. Put the hook through. Putting it through 2 links of the chain gives it a little added strength. And I'm just going to crimp that little hook there, and it's done. I filled in the chunky charm with more beads and charms and junk jewelry pieces. I had so much fun making all of these chunky charms. If you'd like a chance to win one of these custom chunky charms made by me with one of these super cute Greeting Farm Hatters images, please leave a comment below telling me which one is your favorite. I'll be drawing a winner on May 14th. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next video.